Welcome again, everybody, to the Destination Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Stoker, and today is going to be a little bit of a different episode than we normally do. I am recording remotely for the first time ever. Normally we do it in my office, but we're gonna do things a little different today. There's a reason I'm not in the office, and I'll talk about that. But I think the first thing that I want to do, I'm going to recap our visit to the Texas Tourism Industry Association conference. It was down in Fort Worth, Texas, and I want to talk a little bit about that. I'll tell you a little bit about, I'm here at home, and that part of that is because we had a baby this week, and it came as a surprise. I actually had two really awesome episodes scheduled for this week to record with some great people that are going to add a lot of value to you guys. But we had a surprise this week, and our baby came 2 weeks early. So I'll talk a little bit about that in case any of you care to know, a little bit more personal information about me than maybe I normally share. And then I want to give you, I want to let you meet the man behind the computer, Kyle Copier, who really does so much for our podcast. He's our producer and handles all the recording, editing, coordinating. He's the one that sends people, the assets they need to post about it after the interview. And he's been really critical to the podcast, so I wanted to give you guys a chance to get to know him. But first of all, let's dive in to a recap of the Texas Tourism Industry Association conference. I had an incredible time out there in Fort Worth, Texas. I had the opportunity to speak there, and I really appreciate Jennifer Roosh at the Texas Tourism Industry Association for giving me that opportunity. And my topic was a really fun topic to put together. It was how to spy on your competitors and know where you stand. The reason I feel like that's such a critical discussion is because unless you understand where you stand compared to your competition, we call it positioning. Unless you understand that, it's very difficult to know what message is going to resonate most effectively with your audience. And so to me, that is just such a critical part of advertising your destination. So we shared some real unique tools, some low cost or free tools that you can use, and then also some tools with costs associated with them. If you would like a copy of that presentation that I did at the conference, send me an email. My email is adam@relicagency.com. And I would be happy to send you the slide deck from that. We also are going to be making a webinar using that presentation so that maybe you can access it on demand or use it for education or something like that if you'd like. But it was a really fun thing to do, fun to go down there. Fort Worth is a really awesome town. I feel like Dallas gets all the credit. And, when I went down there, I was blown away with Fort Worth. Very tourism-friendly destination as well, and just had a great time. The other thing that was really fun was at the end of my presentation, I actually had a woman that I hadn't met before. Her name is Stephanie Weeks, and she's from Plano, Texas. And I wanted to give her a shout out. She's been listening to the podcast for a long time and let us know that that she enjoys listening. And we're actually going to have her on as a future guest. She's got a great story to tell there in Plano. And Stephanie, it was great to meet you, and excited to get to know you better on a future episode. But other than that, I just can't say enough about how great of a time I had down there at that conference. They put on the Texas Travel Summit is a great show, and they put on a great conference. And excited to be a part of that as time goes on. And if you guys have any other questions about the Texas Travel Summit or want to learn more about either my presentation or our experience down there, I'd love to share more about it. I just need to know kind of what you'd like to hear. So send me a message at adam@relicagency.com if you'd like to learn more. I guess the next thing that I better tell you guys about is the reason that I'm recording here from home today. We had our baby this week, like I mentioned. It came as a little bit of a surprise. We were due here in 2 weeks, and the baby had to come now. It was kind of interesting. My wife was measuring small for the last 2 weeks, and they ended up needing to, at her doctor's appointment on Tuesday, they said, it's time. And so we said, okay. And really this week's been a little bit of a whirlwind as a result. Baby's doing well. He's in the NICU, struggling to get his blood sugar regulated, but that's something that, usually it takes a week or two, and we should have him here at home. I figured, I haven't really talked much about my personal life or anything like that as we've had the podcast. And since I'm doing it a little bit on the fly this week, we've had 22 weeks without a miss in releasing an episode, and I didn't want to have this week be the one. So I thought maybe I'd share a little bit more about myself and my family, and maybe let you guys get to know who this is behind the mic every week talking to you. So I have 4 children. My oldest is 8, and her name is Millie. I've got a 5-year-old girl named Lucy, and then I've got a 2-year-old girl named Emmy, and then obviously we just had this little baby boy, and kind of fun to add a boy to the mix. I have my wife is named Jamie. We've been married for 12 years. We both attended Brigham Young University and met there. And it's kind of funny. I won't go too much into detail, but when I met her, I actually didn't think I had a chance with her. So I started talking to her roommate, and I think that was accidentally smooth because she kind of started showing interest in me, and all of a sudden I realized, hey, this girl may like me. So I guess the rest is history there, and me being dumb actually turned out to be a really good thing. So got a really fun family, and it's hard to have one in the NICU right now, but excited to get him home here in a week or two. And it's given me a good opportunity to spend a little bit more time with my kids during the day, which usually I only see them in the morning before I leave for work, and in the evening when I get home before I put them to bed. So it's been kind of a rewarding couple days to spend a little more time with my kids. Outside of that, I guess I'll let you know I live in Salem, Utah. It's a beautiful small community just south of Provo, Utah, where our office is located. We're right at the base of, I'm biased, but what I feel like are the most beautiful mountains in the world. And right now the fall colors are in full effect, and so I get to look out my window and see some of the most beautiful colors you can see. So that's a little bit about me. I think I've shared more of my professional history with you guys in the first episode. I've been in advertising since really 2008, and got into tourism in 2012, and have just been all in on tourism ever since. So it's been a lot of fun to learn the industry, get to know the industry, and to start sharing some of my experience and the things that I've learned, along with some great guests to teach us for you guys as well. The last thing that I wanted to talk about today, and sorry this is a little bit of an abbreviated episode, is I wanted to introduce you guys to someone that you don't get to hear about, but is very, very critical to the podcast. And his name is Kyle Copier. He's our producer here on the Destination Marketing Podcast, and wanted to give him the opportunity to introduce himself. Kyle, are you there?
I am. How's it going, Adam?
Hey, great. Thanks for all your help with me being out of the office here.
Absolutely.
Well, Kyle, tell us a little bit. Well, no, actually, I better back up, right? First thing I need to do is ask you what your dream destination is.
Breaking format here, Adam. That was close.
That was close.
I'm really into what the UK would call football over there, what we call soccer. And so I would think, honestly, that going to the UK, maybe specifically London, and then catching some grime concerts, because I'm a big fan of UK grime. It's a genre of music.
Okay.
And so I'd love to be able to catch some of those shows and maybe see a couple matches. And the team I support is Bournemouth. And they're just this rags to riches stories of a team that literally needed to crowdfund the money for bleach for their uniforms after every game at one point. And now they're at the highest level of competition. So that's probably the dream destination for me. Obviously, that would take a little bit of a drive away from London. But overall, that would be the trip.
Wow. Well, once again, we haven't had a grime and soccer trip on the podcast yet. So
that's right.
That's good to hear. Okay. So how does one get into, because you're not from the UK, how does one get into grime music from the UK?
I go down a rabbit hole on iTunes, or I guess I used to now that iTunes isn't going to be a thing anymore. What I would do is I would listen to a song that I'd like, and then I'd go through the people who bought this, also bought this loop forever. And so it would just be, so from some rap song that I liked at some point in high school, that tied to something, that tied to something, that tied to something, that brought me to this artist called Wiley, who they called the Godfather of Grime. And so he was the guy. And so now I have a dog back home named Wiley after him. And so, so that's my favorite artist in that. And so that's just kind of the music discovery platforms led me to him and the genre.
Okay. All right. So maybe somebody, if you're interested in what this kind of music is, look up Wiley, and then you'll just go down the rabbit hole from there, right?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, Kyle, your favorite place you ever been?
Ooh, see, this is a tricky one because it's tied to a good memory that you're not going to appreciate.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, Tempe, Arizona.
I think I know where this is going.
Yes, so my dad was the ticket manager at the University of Utah when I was growing up. In 2003, 2004 was his last year doing that, or I guess 2004, 2005. And the University of Utah went to play in the Fiesta Bowl, and they were the first BCS busters ever from outside of a power conference. And I got to interact with the team a lot and the coach, and I hung out with his kids for a while. I bumped into Alex Smith a lot. I'm a big fan of his. And so, it was a fantastic trip. So overall, the destination itself and the way Tempe lives through that for me. So it's not necessarily like I think that's a place I got to go, right?
Yeah.
It's just
it's kind of your favorite
the moment
experience.
in the Fiesta Bowl. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Mm-hmm. You know what? Obviously not a Utah fan, but I can appreciate that. I think that's some of my best memories are tied to going to football games with my dad and stuff like that. So I can totally relate, even if you're cheering for the wrong team.
I had a cousin who played at BYU too, so I can't hate.
There you go. Well, Kyle, I mean, people can probably tell by now already just listening to the episode that you have a radio background. So why don't you give us a rundown of your background and what led you here to Relic?
Yeah, so I grew up listening to this one morning show on a 97.1 ZHT in Utah for the longest time. And in college, that background led me to want to do like a student radio show. And so I did that. And while I was in student radio, I took an intern job at the radio station that I grew up listening to, which eventually through some many different things ended with me being on that morning show for a while.
Nice.
And so I did that show for about 9 months. And then I did my own show in the tiniest place in the world, upstate New York. Malone is what it was called, Malone. And it's a really, really cool city. It's very cold in the winter. I mean, -40 with wind chill, but it was a blast. So I did that for a year in Malone and then decided it was time to do something else. And it led me to this. And I really, really liked it so far.
Yeah. So you're new to tourism then, right?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about what it's like coming into the tourism industry blind, and because you were definitely thrown into the deep end, right? So you go from not knowing anything about tourism to now producing the Destination Marketing Podcast. What's that transition been like for you?
It's really crazy because you don't think, outside of people who deal with tourism every day, you don't think of everything that goes into it, right? I mean, just the fact that, Adam, you could probably talk to somebody for 5+ hours about wayfinding signs I found, and that's something I never would have considered when I started into tourism marketing. It's just like every little detail and the planning that goes behind all these little details as touch points, and saying, look, even down to these signs have to be a great part of the experience or it's not going to come together right.
Yeah, that's, it's funny. I probably do talk about wayfinding signs too much, but I see the point, because you're right. When you come into the tourism industry, there's just so many things that aren't necessarily exposed to non-tourism industry professionals, right? Tell me some of the projects you've been able to work on, or maybe share that with our listeners, since I obviously know what projects you've been working on.
I think I have the most fun with Tuacahn.
Tell everybody what Tuacahn is.
So Tuacahn is a performance amphitheater, and they do shows that are unlike anything you're ever going to see anywhere else. I mean, they're right in front of the mouth of, I think it's Padre Canyon. Their venue uses the canyon so much on their shows, and it's just a performance venue unlike any other. And that's not a marketing thing. That's just a real thing.
Yeah.
And so anything we do that gets to work with them and being able to push something that you don't get to sell something like this in any other format. So I really have a lot of fun with everything we do for TuaCon, and their shows are top notch. And then, yeah, I think that's got to be my favorite so far.
Great. What else are you working on, just so we can get kind of an idea of what you're doing?
For some of the other clients we work on, I think one of my other favorite things we're doing is for Madera. We have a fantastic illustrator in our building. Madera County, California. And it's Yosemite. And we have an illustrator named James Gibson who is fantastic. And he made these videos for them it's a welcoming committee, right? An animated one. And so it gives life to the places that people are visiting. And it gives them a character that are behind. So if you go to Bass Lake, there's an eagle called Blake. And it's just all so well drawn and well put together. So I've had a lot of fun with that. I love the stuff we're doing with Uinta County also in Utah. And we have a couple of clients that are tech and telecom as well that I have a good time working with. So it's just the overall experience isn't just destination marketing, but I think the destination parts have the potential to have the most fun.
Great. And you haven't been in for too terribly long, but you've been in enough, and you've especially listening to the podcast. What do you feel like is the most important thing you've learned about destination marketing so far?
Well, I think one of the most important things in destination marketing, and it really does carry over into what I do personally as an account coordinator, is authenticity. Because I think you've talked about this on the podcast before. You don't want people you're showing these advertisements to and these messages to feel like they're going to walk into a destination and be the only person there. And that carries over so much into client service as well, just the authenticity idea. Because I always say the way to make a client feel like they matter is to make them actually matter.
Yep.
There's no secret sauce to that. Anybody can do it. And being true to your brand as a destination, or true to your clients as, an account coordinator or whatever you're doing, the authenticity is so easy to want to act on. And so I think the way to come across as authentic, I should say, is to just be authentic.
Yeah, that's good stuff, Kyle. And man, we've touched on that a lot here on the podcast. I think that's a great takeaway for everybody, and also for you. So I appreciate you coming on and letting us get to know you a little bit. Is there, in classic form, is there anything I haven't asked you that maybe we should ask you, or that may benefit our listeners?
You know what? No, I don't think so. I think we got through a lot of good stuff over the past 22 episodes. You know what? I will say something. Yes. If you haven't listened to the last 22 episodes of this, there's great stuff in there. So if you've liked anything we've said today or in any random episode you've listened to, go back and listen to everything, because it's a great way to just, on your commute, maybe a great way to learn some stuff while you're driving along or doing what you're doing.
Awesome. Thanks, Kyle. And for everybody to know too, the episodes that we had scheduled for this week that I had to reschedule because baby came as a surprise here, but we've rescheduled the episodes to be next week. So we've got two great guests coming on. One of them is PR focused, and we haven't touched on PR a lot here on the podcast. So I'm excited to have our guest that's PR related on. And then we've got one of the titans of the Utah advertising industry who's done a lot of work with the state of Utah, among several other destinations. He's on the agency side. I'm excited to have him on as well. And he and I will probably have I might fanboy a little bit on that one. So I'll try to keep it to a minimum, but I definitely admire the work that he's done in the industry, and we'll enjoy talking to him. So don't come back next week and you'll get some great guests and probably a little less of me and Kyle, which is probably good. In addition, I just want to remind everybody, go join our LinkedIn group called Destination Marketers. We encourage you to join that group, and that's a place where we're all posting information that we've learned, and we post some of the key episodes that we do here in that group, and that's designed so that we can all post ideas and learn and grow together. So thanks everybody for your time, and we'll see you next week.